So, you mentioned there are only two options, at least currently, for the students. Not
Every meeting, anything and everything that we do in the organization are to be focusing on these two.
okay.
How do we generate revenue for the organization is one. Second, how do we
The point of hiring freshers, right?
fresh?
So the corporates hire freshers because they want to mold them
Right.
according to their, because they're empty vessels. Hi everyone. We have an amazing, charming, and a very fun personality amidst us. He is known for his business consulting and training, and he's going to share a lot of insights about, again, same business consulting and training, and also his experience in throughout this journey. So let's have a fun talk with them. We have Meyyappan Sundram, alias Meyz, popularly known as Meyz. So hi Meyz. So I guess you basically donned these two hats importantly, which is a business consultant and a trainer, right? Yeah. So we would like to know more first about your business consulting. It's interesting and I want to know more about it.
Right. So I would like to call myself as a trainer first,
Okay.
and then the second hat of becoming a business consultant came up a little later. In fact, talking about more about business consulting is in today's world, anybody can get into the shoes of being a business consultant. However, the expertise plays a crucial and important role. So right from my early days of corporate life, I've been into operations, HR, training, and quality. So over a period of time, I've gained enough satisfaction. Business consultant is, it might sound simple, it might sound easy. Now anybody can do this role. However, not everyone can become successful when someone starts doing the role of a business consultant.
Okay. So can you enlighten more on this? Like, what is business consulting and what do you particularly do and what makes you different than
Right.
others?
Right. So when you work as an employee in any corporate organization, you get into departments like operations, or HR, or quality, or training, or finance, or procurement,
Correct.
anything.
Correct.
You do it over a period of time and gain enough exposure and experience, right? And you get to know the market trends as well.
Correct.
So as an employee, you do them. Over a period of time when you become a business consultant, is getting the work done from the others. Yeah, right. So you don't do it, but you guide, mentor, educate, and equip people to make them do what you want them to be doing for you and the organization.
Fantastic. So how many companies are you associated with?
In terms of business consulting, I have restricted it myself to get enough span and attention to these organizations. Roughly about 4 to 5 organizations is what I'm doing right.
Correct.
But in 2025, I'm looking at expanding my brand and the scope of it. I would like to take it to 8 to 10 companies.
Companies. Okay. Okay. So my question here is that does one size fits all strategy can be applied? Is it that what you apply for one company can it be taken to others? So the work becomes easy here. Is that so?
It might look so. However, I would say probably not.
Okay.
While the basics remain the same, the strategies might remain the same. Yeah, the overall framework might remain the same, in fact. However, based on the size of the organization, people that work there, the gender proportion, the age group of the organization, the industry that it belongs to, and more importantly, the objectives and the goals of why we are doing it. What's the purpose? Why are we doing it right now? All these play an important role in deciding how we build the plan and implement the plan according to so it has to be there.
Okay, it has to be dynamic. It can't be like one size fits all. What you do in one company can be, but not as it is be implemented. That's what you mean to say.
Okay.
That's interesting actually. So each company is a challenge, interesting in itself.
Every day is a learning for me. I carry about 22 plus years of experience on my back. However, every day, every company, even if it's the same company, another day is another learning experience and factor. So there's a whole lot of experience that I get from people, and I try sharing it with the rest of the companies. It's quite okay for us to replicate these success stories to the other companies in different versions.
In different versions. Okay. Your energy level had always been very infectious. Okay. You
Happy with it.
yeah, you actually imitate a lot of energy which kind of inspires a lot of people, what I've seen. What has your journey had been about a trainer?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, so I used to be an operations guy when I started my career. In fact,
Okay.
I was more of a revenue-driven person. I always tried, so as I was talking about, any organization has to be looking at only two things. If they got to be in the business, there are only two things that needs to be looked at. One, every meeting, anything and everything that we do in the organization are to be focusing on these two.
Okay.
How do we generate revenue for the organization is one.
Okay.
Second, how do we cut costs that are considered to be leakages or redundancies?
Okay.
Yeah, duplications. So anything that we do in terms of these two will yield results, make the organization grow, and in turn, the employees that work for the organization will get benefited out of it, in fact. So I started as an operations guy. I was very passionate about generating revenue for the organization, cutting leakages, wastages from the organization. Next. And however, on the parallel side, I've always found me being a trainer, me having a passion towards training and training the others. In fact, getting a person satisfaction, like train people's minds, influencing people's minds through training.
Okay.
All these gave me immense satisfaction. And over a period of time while I was working at Sutherland Global Services, one fine day, my VP called me and then she was asking me, she knew me as a very successful operations person.
Okay.
And then there was a vacuum created in the training department.
Okay.
And then she wanted me to take it and run it. So I told her I would be, I wouldn't want to step into training right now. And then we had about 4-hour long chat over this. And then finally, she had to agree to my demands of me doing both operations and at the same time.
Okay.
However, I was a little immature. I was around 22 or 3 years back.
Yeah.
then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, but she had the plans of taking me completely into training,
Okay.
which was not revealed to me at that time.
But I think that planned out very well.
Planned out very well. And then over a period of time, she phased me out of operations and then moved me into training, which I wholeheartedly accepted. And then at one point, I became responsible for 2,000 employees.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking about your shift from operation to training, right? So, do you believe that training could help shifting careers? See, you're seasoned already, you're trained already, you're equipped in one role, and then you upskill yourself or train yourself for an entirely different thing. Is it possible in
It's
psychology?
completely possible. Right?
Okay.
For this to be happening, there has to be something called as self-realization that needs to be happening in everybody. People may be passionate about. There could be different people influencing others and helping them identify or helping them build curiosity, and people can try and explore different things. However, one has to have the self-realization and understand that this is my cup of tea and I'm going to do really well.
Okay.
Only then it's going to materialize. If not, it's going to be just another try.
Just another try. Right. Okay. So basically, a person has to have a
Self-realization of why be able to
calling towards that.
towards that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that is very important you mentioned. Okay. So now, when we talk about training, right? How important is upskilling for a person while working?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Upskilling is extremely important, right from 2-year-old to 5-year-old to 50-year-old to 60-year-olds.
Okay.
Every day there has to be some sort of upskilling happening in every single person, on this planet Earth. Especially when it comes to corporate organizations, it's important that most of the employees in the eastern side of the world do not realize the importance of upskilling themselves. So it becomes the responsibility of the organizations to try and upskill the workforce of the organization. In fact,
Okay. That actually brings me to the next question of us. The role of training in corporate. How much the management or the senior leadership should look into it?
let me bring the world concept into it again. If we split the world into two, Western and Eastern,
Okay.
Western side of the world understands the importance of training, and they give enough attention, and they devise plans as number of man hours for training that is required for every employee.
Okay.
However, on the Eastern side of the world, barring Australia, the rest of the third world or second world countries struggle and do not realize the importance of it. Right from the bosses of organizations, many of them fail to understand the potential of what an impactful training could bring on table to them.
Okay.
Right? The missing piece in the puzzle is training is a bit that does not contribute to direct revenue generation.
Okay.
If I train somebody in a batch of 20 or 15,
Okay.
and they come out of it, we wouldn't be able to see direct proportion of revenue right from the next day or the second day.
But it does have impact, right, on revenue?
It has huge impact in terms of revenue generation.
Okay.
The knowledge, the skill remains in them, and indirectly they start applying the concepts learned
And the productivity.
and the productivity increases.
Yeah.
They become smart workers.
Uh-huh.
They know where to spend what time and everything.
Yeah.
They become better prioritizers. They know what to be given more importance and weightage than what not.
Yeah.
And which one to be taken up first and which one not to be.
Got it.
And then that helps the organization generate sustainable revenue model over a period of time. So when bosses in eastern eastern side of the world do not see the immediate revenue out of training.
Uh-huh.
If I spend about 50,000 rupees on a sales campaign for about a week's time, I would see results immediately.
Okay.
Right? But if I spend 50,000 rupees in a training to train a batch for about 4-5 days a week's time, I wouldn't be able to see the revenue immediately getting generated. But the revenue that these guys who attended the training for a week's time would be able to give returns 3x, 3 times of what the sales team.
So, therefore, when you said this is what I was seeking. The marketing, as you said, if you put on 50,000 on a marketing thing, it would generate revenue immediately. But that's a short-lived one, right? It would have a shelf life. But wherein if we invest on stuff, training them, the shelf life is much longer.
That's right.
Yeah, and they are productive, and obviously the revenue would shoot up, right?
Yeah, sales, marketing, branding is extremely important. That's a whole different ball game altogether. It has to be happening parallelly always. Without marketing and branding, no organization
Nothing can
will be able to survive.
But at the same time,
Right. So we're not doing an apple-to-apple comparison. However, training is a concept where people will have to believe and imbibe skills in employees.
yes,
And strongly trust the fact that it would generate stronger yields over a period of time, which is sustainable.
sustainable. Yeah. It's a long run, actually, right? Yeah. So, we have does this apply? I'm going to shift this slightly to the freshers field, because we actually deal a lot with freshers, right? So, what is the role of training when particularly comes to fresh graduates?
Right.
How important is it?
Right. So this takes me back to splitting human beings into two. One is andragogical learning, the other is pedagogical learning.
Okay.
So pedagogical learning, as you know, is training or making kids learn, in fact.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. And adult learning is something they always put a barricade whenever somebody tries and trains, then, they put a barricade, take only what they want. If they like it, they'll take. If they don't like it, they'll not take. That's the kind of
That's the whole point of hiring freshers, right? So the corporates hire freshers because they want to mold them according to their, because they're empty vessels.
right,
They can fill as they want.
right. So train them as early as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, a kid would listen to us.
Okay.
A young adult, 50% may listen to us. A grown-up adult wouldn't listen to us unless he or she wants to.
Okay.
So we're in between. So looking at young adults at the age group of 20, 21, 22 years, there are two concepts of carrot and stick method. Stick method won't work with Gen Z and 2K kids right now. We now have Gen Alpha. Yeah, right. So it's important that we show the character methodology to them. Tell them what's in store for them. Wilfram concept, what's in it for me? They'll have to realize that. The moment they realize what's in it for me, yeah, and then we show them what all can be achieved by this over a period of time, not through shortcuts. At least 70 to 80% of this young crowd, which is very vibrant, energetic, and intelligent than us, yeah, these guys would take it up. And then training would do wonders, and our skilling will help them a lot. So it's important to train and upskill young minds as much as possible. We need to spend more number of hours of training for them than training a 40-year-old or a 35-year-old.
Got it. Because there's a lot of ranting about Gen Z. There's a lot of stigma getting attached to Gen Z, right? So they don't listen, they think very differently. So training, as you said, could help them, as you said, channelizing them, because they are very, they are one group or a clan, they question and they need logical answers probably for their questions. That's what I feel. And also they, unless their heart and mind is not accepting something, they feel, why should I do this? Why should I? There's always a question and they need an answer. They seek answer. So that's what I feel about Gen Z mostly. So when we talk about this with proper training, can we channelize them on the proper way? Because I hear so many people, so many leaders at this moment of time saying that we don't want Gen Z, we don't want to hire Gen Z. So, but I feel that if they are channelized properly, we have a vibrant, as you say, a very vibrant workforce.
We don't hire Gen Z. Who else would we have hired?
We can hire, true.
So we cannot hire 30, 35, 40-year-olds. In fact, yeah. So the only option left is to hire Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Right. And if you ask me, Gen Z or Gen Alpha kids are just coming up more, intelligent and knowledgeable. They've got good grasping power.
Yes.
They self-realize a lot of things on their own. They are quick learners, and these are the type of young population.
Their diffusion level is also
phenomenal, in fact. Phenomenal. Yeah. And this heavy competition, heavy pressure, and they're coping up with all of these mental pressures and stress and trauma. Still, they're able to achieve really well and achieve and come up. So, if you ask me, I'm actually very happy that we have, especially in a country like India and Asian side of the world, has a lot of younger population compared to the Western side. Especially European market is an aged population. So Europe doesn't see strong young crowd contributing to the growth of the nation. However, if you look at India and then China and then Japan is a little worried right now because of the aging population. The average age group of the country is high. However, countries like India, which has phenomenal amount of population, has got this between 20 and 25 crowd, huge numbers in fact.
okay.
And these guys can contribute a lot. And these guys are shaping up the identity of our nation actually as we speak, in fact. So I'm really not worried about them. They can learn things on their own. They're good learners. All that we need to do is, as you rightly said, we need to channelize. And then if we keep complaining about them, nothing is going to change. So so they are smart workers and players than us. We would see lot more unicorns coming up in the country in the next 10 years than number of unicorns that we had seen
Exactly.
together.
Yes. A lot of young entrepreneurs, the mindset of students or the kids wanting to have their own venture.
Right.
We will circle back to that
Right.
again. But uh, rounding out again to the same question of mine, can you give me 5 tips, quick tips for Gen Z regarding to the training, where we can train them properly? And these are the training tips which can help.
Okay.
Some 5.
Okay. Not necessarily 5, something that comes to my mind immediately.
Okay, definitely. Let's go ahead.
Um, we should be very specific about what we're training.
Okay.
If we give them a generic training, things will die down
Okay.
and they don't like it.
Okay.
We need to be very specific. Why are we doing this training? What's the objective or outcome of it? What do we expect from you over a period of time out of this training?
Okay.
All these expectations have to be set very clearly.
Okay.
And tell them 1, 2, 3. These are the 3 things that we'll be training you on. Instead of covering or giving a gyan to them, we're very specific about training and not train whole lot of topics. That's 1.
Okay.
Number 2, who becomes the trainer? Who becomes the mentor is a crucial part as well. If the trainer or the person who is not very understanding of the crowd, if the person is not able to relate to the crowd, then I think the training is going to die down, right? The trainer has to connect with the young minds really well, change the methodology of training based on the audio. We call it as catering to differentiation.
Okay.
There could be different type of learners we may have in a group. They may have come from different social backgrounds, educational backgrounds, financial backgrounds, societal backgrounds. All of these affect their learning skills.
Okay.
Yeah, and learning abilities, in fact.
So you mean to say all these factors to be considered when training?
All these factors are to be considered and ensure that you give them a proper trainer who can connect with them really well.
Okay.
Most of the organizations make trainers based on the skill set of the person. That person, if he or she is on the job, will be able to do better job and make a lot of revenue generated for the organization. Will that same person be able to make others do the job? Yeah, might not be necessary. So today, a lot of team leads, a lot of managers, a lot of trainers are being given these roles and promoted to these roles based on how they did well,
As a leader.
no, in their earlier roles, in fact.
Okay.
Right? So when they were just employees, when they were beginners, they worked for about 2 years. So they generated a lot of revenue. They had a tick on all of the check boxes.
Okay.
KRAs or KPIs or metrics that we call them.
Okay.
Yeah. So the management decides this guy met all KRAs and metrics. This guy can do really well. And then they make him a team lead or a trainer.
Okay.
Yeah. Which shouldn't be the case. A person may have this amount of knowledge. Another person may have this amount of knowledge, but the basic requirement is here. Both met and exceeded. This guy's got enough, maximum amount of knowledge. But who has better people handling skills? Who can impart skills in people? This person might not be people person. The person who's got little lesser knowledge might be better in terms of people. So we need to pick this person, not this.
Not this person. Okay.
If you ask me, selfishly, I would say, let this person continue generating the revenue for the organization and do the same work.
Okay.
We try and look at different ways and means to train this guy and give him parallel elevations.
Okay.
But somebody who wants to become a trainer or a leader, not necessary that the person should be faring well on all metrics, like a meritorious 2 days person in a script. Yeah, even the backbenchers could be people friendly, and those guys can lead people really well. So trainers are supposed to be leaders. They should know the dynamics of the group, and they should cater to differentiations in the group. They should know how to deliver and make people learn from them. So they shouldn't adopt one style of teaching methodology. There has to be different styles of teaching methodologies so that every brain from different backgrounds tries and takes it. For example, I may be a kinesthetic person. I may, some of them could be oral learners where I talk to them and then they learn. So I give them pamphlets, manuals, they read and then they learn. Some of them I show the pics, they learn. Some of I show the videos, they learn. So some of them I give them the actual product, and then they touch and feel, and then they learn to that way. So we'll have the different size, and the trainer has to be such a person who
caters to all groups at the same time.
Yeah, so that's number 2. In fact, these are 2 things that comes to my mind if you ask me in terms of tips.
Yeah.
That
Okay. So now I'm gonna take this question a little more for my intake. So we deal a lot with freshers. We are a company, that we train students, right? Fresh minds. So we go to the colleges and train. So there's always a noise about bridging the gap, right? So I'm all about that, bridging gap, because of the past experience. So you can give me few tips.
Right.
How do you think the right way to do the bridging gap thing?
Right. 20 years ago, it was huge. The gap was huge. The organizations always were in need of people, and graduates were always in need of jobs. Yeah, these guys weren't able to get jobs, and these guys weren't able to fill the roles, in fact. Yes. Right now, if you look at 2025, it's kind of okay, but still we are not there where we want to be.
Case, right? We keep hearing in campuses that requirement is there, but still we are not able to get the campuses done.
We moved well, but still there seems to be a huge gap in terms of, right? That's primarily because of not to blame, but the tutors, in fact, the professors, the lecturers, the mentors, who does the, who plays the very important role at schools and colleges, in fact. That's one. And second, again, a little bit of blaming on the system or the methodology of how we educate our kids today. Yeah. And are we going a little bit on the theory side or on the practical side?
Okay.
India has a lot of reputed education institutions. If you count.
But our new education system talks a lot about STEM, right? We have a lot of practical learning now coming up. Yes, of course, I agree. What you say is right. We had a lot of lacking or lacuna where it comes to practical exposure currently. But we have, as you say, we have come a long way.
Right. We still have more of theoretical learning than conceptual, which is practical learning, in fact. Even if the practicals isn't possible, in fact, at least the concepts are to be driven in people's mind.
Get it.
Once the concepts are accepted by the young minds, they will be in a better position to choose their career options, in fact. Today, if you go to colleges, there are only 2 options. For them to pursue post-graduation, after the graduation, that could be an option, or get into work. 60% they would like to get into work, 40% may get into post-graduation. But 60% or even the postgraduates, if you ask, what are you going to do next? Bare minimum of 50% wouldn't know where to start from.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Because they do not know what they are passionate about, where they can contribute, where they can do really well, which is their industry, they wouldn't know.
But there's always also this thing, which is undeniable, that students start thinking about their career only in the later stage of education, not from the first year, right?
Right.
And I feel even if we go to them in the first year, do you think they will take us seriously?
How we present it to them matters a lot.
Okay.
We need to show a lot of successful people who tried but failed, people who are very positive and followed the concept of perseverance and all of these. Yeah, if we show them things in black and white, they'll be able to pick it up right from their first years, in fact.
I associate this concept a lot with the current movie. One movie which is making blockbuster now, Dragon, right? Yeah, the kid, how he was there previously. And
School.
yeah, not just school, even the college, I think. That's how it is shown that when he was there, he was literally forced, and only then he realized what is the importance of that education, or how to upskill, getting that right job, how important it is, right? So it is very difficult. I find it very challenging though it is the fact that we should go to the students right in the first year.
Yeah.
Right in the school, the students should be taught to get themselves channelized, right? First year at least, they should fix up. They should see they should have at least a checklist.
Yeah. We should build a vision for that.
Exactly. To build a vision, there we give them, or if we could help them create a checklist rather than we giving, because Gen Z doesn't work like that. We give them, they won't accept. So we need to help them create the checklist where they say, okay, next 3 years of my life, this is what is my path. This is how I want to channelize myself. These are the projects, or these are the paper publications, or these are the extracurricular also. Forget only the co-curricular. These are the extracurricular also, because this is all about holistic, right? So these are the things I want to be there in the third year or final year of my resume.
Right.
Right. It's not created over the night, right? Resume is created. It's a journey. They travel in the college, school. So, what could be that things which can help us take it to the students, and they also should look at us seriously. They should also say, okay, this making sense to me. How do we do that exactly?
Right. So they won't take things from us.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, we can't sell it to them.
Uh-huh.
So they'll have to buy it from us.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So if you give them the options and force them to take, they won't.
They will not. That's probably is happening now, right? Lot of advices which they really, really don't like, right? And that's why we are all called movers. Why not?
So it's important that we show them multiple options.
Uh-huh.
And if they take this, what's going to be the consequence? Will it suit them or not?
Okay.
2-3 things. And then the next option.
Okay.
You surround them with options.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they try, they explore, they decide whether they like it or not.
Like it or not.
Yeah. And then over a period of time, they'll be able to shortlist or narrow down to 2-3, industries or the departments.
I think there where this training is going to help them, I did.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Where we become guides and mentors. That's it.
Okay. So we shouldn't be the teachers to teach them.
Right.
And
We cannot be teachers to adults, in fact.
yeah.
We can teach or we can train an animal or a kid. That's more of pedagogical. Andragogical, we should become coordinators, in fact.
Yeah. Just being the guidance to them and nothing more.
Right.
They don't
Make the learning happen in them,
Uh-huh.
show them there's learning, and make them pick it up from us. That's the best that we could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned there are only two options, at least currently, for the students. Not that you said there are two options, but most of the students take up either 60% of them take up jobs, 40% go for higher studies, right? I would rather say it's less than 40% who go for higher studies. But there's one more thing, which again, our government is also encouraging that a lot. That is the entrepreneurial skills, right? So, how do we help them imbibe or ignite that spark in them for the self-employment or entrepreneurial ventures?
Right. So we're in a phase where these young minds are becoming a little confused, in fact. Everybody wants to become successful over a period of time, overnight.
Yes.
Right? And somebody who is getting graduated from a decent college or a university, everybody wants to get to the pay scale of 1 lakh per month and anything not less.
Yes.
Right.
And they're paid also.
They're paid, if you ask me, very little.
Everybody, not everybody, but yeah, there are companies.
Maybe 20% of graduates from the cities. That's it.
Yeah.
If you look at the overall India, 85% the people.
But the pay structure has
There's a huge difference.
yes,
Right.
skyrocketed.
So some of them could be getting a pay scale of 18K to 20K or a max of 25K when they step out. And then they start realizing the reality, in fact. Yeah. So it hits them immediately. So there are certain industries that can pay really well, but comes along is the pressure, the stress, and everything. And our system today doesn't educate them or to help them or teach them or train them to cope up things that come attached. These are freebies that come along. While somebody maybe studies may have fared really well, may have cleared the interviews, may have been placed really well at a hefty package. However, within 3 or 6 months' time, many of these young minds are not able to cope up the mental pressure or the stress or the traumatic conditions that they go through, and they did not know how to channelize these things, and then it could even be fatal. It takes or at least it takes a heavier toll on them, in fact. So that's a drawback. So talking about entrepreneurial spirit, in the last 5 to 7 years, if you look at, there's been a lot of entrepreneurs and millennial entrepreneurs as well, we had seen, in fact.
Yes.
So everybody thinks, people who are at their 40s in corporate organizations, they think, I'm done with my corporate life. I need to do something else.
Yeah.
Some of them smartly think, while I'm still at work, I need to get something started as a backup plan. And then over a period of time, crop this and then get onto that job. But I become my own boss and not, become answerable to someone else. That's at the 35, 40, 45-year-old side. These 20 to 23-year-old, young minds as well, they want to become entrepreneurs immediately.
Yes.
Some of them want to become entrepreneurs directly without any experience. Some of them want to become entrepreneurs in a year or two. So I would strongly advise and bat that every young mind has to go through for a period of 5 years. And 5 years, at least 2 different companies. They should travel a lot. They should get exposed to different things. And then I think they'll be in a better position to decide will they take about
I think they accept this. Okay, I'll give you an instance. Recently, I got an opportunity to train in a city college, and I meet this kid, okay, hardly 20, already has got amazing idea of started the venture as well. Okay, idea is amazing.
Okay.
Everything is good. Being actually have done already started the venture, everything. But jokingly, the person said that I did everything, but I forgot about GST. I don't know how to handle the finances. I didn't know how to kind of apply all those financial concepts or the documents, what they should be taking care of. Right? So there where I believe this concept of not or having a better exposure before starting a venture comes in.
Right. So in fact, these legal moralities can be learned probably in about 3 months' time. Shouldn't be about.
Yeah, I can be handed over to someone else also.
They should have a basic understanding.
Of
It's about 3 to 6 months. They will spend a lot of time in it. Then this, somebody who wants to say young mind can have brighter ideas, smarter, innovative solutions to today's problems that we have, and it might work out really well. The problem is, the idea is great, but it has to become like an organization with a set of people, in fact. So the moment they know that the idea can be successful, and they think they need to get into they need to build an organization and get people on board. There are a lot of aspects in terms of running an organization effectively.
Yeah.
This young mind alone cannot contribute to it. It's like building a structure, right? There has to be multiple people involved in. I can be an architect thinking of structures, elevation, and everything, and immediately I cannot become a building contractor or a building as such, right? So these minds should get exposed to entrepreneurial concepts of managing employees, managing finances, equipping them with constant trainings, equipping employees with latest market trends so that they contribute to the brand's development impact. All of these matters a lot.
So probably there were the trainings could come in, right?
Trainings would definitely, and experience. So experience, I would say, is not the best teacher. It is the only teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody has to experience and understand how difficult it could be handling people in terms of recruiting, in terms of retaining people, in terms of marketing, in terms of branding, in terms of choosing a location. For example, if it's a retail industry, so and there are a lot of aspects come into play, like what sort of location would people step in, what are the brands that we have there.
Yeah, there's so many
Aspects.
right aspects. Just an MBA degree cannot do that. There have to be, as you say, experience is the only teacher. It's not one of the way to it. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah. So we literally had a lot of topics. So I want you to share few interesting anecdotes or just from your training experience, what had been till now for you. So any interesting incidents you could think of
Okay.
top of your mind.
One of the recent training, that I went into, in fact, after so much of gaining so much of expertise, in fact, there were about 800 people
Okay.
in a reputed institution. Yeah. And it was a total flop.
Oh my God.
It was,
What do you say?
yeah, right. So, full of boys, yeah, and 800 boys.
Uh-huh.
So, and we planned it. The management wanted it to be more of a training session rather than in an addressing gathering, standing at the podium. And people involved weren't able to control the crowd. In fact, there were lease measures taken to repel the crowd. Probably they got into, before even the training started, they set my mind frame that our guys won't listen to anything, so we'll have to complete this. It became more of a formality thing. I was very shocked. And then the people who were standing by weren't able to control the crowd. And then so I wasn't able to control 800 boys at the same time. In fact, spread them into multiple groups. I was focusing on one. The remaining three will be talking. If I can hear, another three. So we still have to be looking at the dynamic group. There's something called group that we always look into.
Healthy.
But then if it's, on the other hand, not gender bias, but it was 800 girls, I'm sure they would have listened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
Right? And well, the end of the session was quite okay. And the last 5 minutes was very positive. People had takeaways and then they appreciated, applauded and everything. But then most part of the training session was a total flop, I would say. So looking at, so we need to be understanding the dynamics of the college, what crowd are we talking to, what type of audience they are, which stream they belong to, what were their previous experience to such similar training sessions. Yeah, should be looking at all of these, in fact, and then deciding whether should we have 800 people. It was 200 initially and then increased it. Oh, we do. Should we have a restricted crowd so that they listen to us? Yeah. Or it should only be an addressing gathering session where they listen to instead of walking down the aisle and training them, all of these. So that was one recent unexpected total flop. So it
Economic feel. You know, I'm so surprised. Usually when a question like this was asked, people come up with like, I did this, I did that, with that, like, and you come up with a flop story. And I'm really surprised about that. But yeah, flop stories and failure stories give you greater lessons than successful ones, right?
Yes.
So it was wonderful talking to you, Meyz.
Pleasure's mine.
Yeah, a lot of insights, I believe. One person for a change I had who's not ranting about Gen Z and saying that we have a vibrant workforce and we need to utilize it properly. So, touching young minds had been your forte, actually. So, looking forward to collaborate and work together and listen to you more. Yeah, it was absolutely fun having you here. Thank you so much, Meyz.
Pleasure's always mine. Nice interacting with you, Monica. Thank you for having me.